there, it's Jacqueline. Welcome to my cooking class. Today we are going to make a recipe. I was introduced to it or something similar to it at my girlfriend Harriet's house. She invited me over for an absolutely lovely dinner. She is an amazing cook, and one of the side dishes was this Mediterranean salad that I absolutely fell in love with. Of course, you would know that I am going to epicurize it and change it because there's no recipe that I don't change. And so I wanted to make sure that I shared this with you because I do believe that it's going to be one of those recipes that you're going to love as much as I do, because I could eat this morning, noon, and night. So let's get started with this cooking class. I'll give you some fun food facts. This is going to come together fairly quickly, and it starts with our round steamer. So if you don't have the round steamer, certainly use your large multi-purpose steamer, or you can cook your pearl couscous in your multi-purpose pot or on top of the stove. It's still like 35 degrees here. Cooking and adding extra heat to my house. I'm feeling sorry for my air conditioner, so I want to do this in the microwave today. So what I've done is I've put about 1.5 cups of pearl couscous. If you're gluten intolerant, swap it out for quinoa, okay? Now, both couscous and quinoa really have no flavor to them. They are vehicles for flavor. So what you're going to want to do is add some seasoning to this before you cook it. So 1.5 cups of couscous, I put 1.5 cups of water. I would put in some nourish broth, but if you have vegetable broth, you could certainly do that as well. So taking your 4-in-1 spoon, we're going to put in about a tablespoon of that. And we're going to also want a little bit of olive oil because after all it is Mediterranean. So getting your 4-in-1 spoon, again, it's painful how slow this pours out, but it's because it's like liquid gold. I love good quality olive oil. This is cold pressed, by the way. I believe it's available in the United States. If you get a chance to get this, brilliant. Love it. I love it for salads because, I mean, you can use any olive oil when you're cooking, but when you're actually eating it fresh, I really want to make sure that I have a good quality olive oil. So just give it a good stir. I'm using my saute spoon. And all we're going to do now, put a lid on it. If you're cooking it on the stove, you're going to want to put a lid on it as well. And it's going to take about 10 to 14 minutes depending on your microwave. So I will be right back. It's been 14 minutes and this, whew, can you see the steam, is the couscous. As you can see, it's still holding its form. Normally, I will let you know that couscous, usually you do 2 parts water to 1 part couscous, but because I'm doing a salad, I cut back on the water because I didn't want it to be mushy. Now you will find, because of course it's a pasta, it's going to stick. So there's 2 things that I would recommend you do. Number 1 is maybe grab a teaspoon of butter, but just so you know, and this will just separate it just a little bit while we're getting the rest of the salad organized. Don't worry if it clumps together, because by the time you put your salad dressing on this and all the other vegetables that we're going to be putting in it, it's going to break it up and it's going to be absolutely perfect. So there you are. Our couscous is done. How easy is that? No mess, no burning on the bottom of the pan. Just going to let it cool down and we're going to move over to the stove. So I've got our mandolin here. If you're not familiar with this, I love this. You may have noticed. I finally had to replace mine. I had my old one for probably, I'm going to say 4 years, and it was getting a little tired. So I was noticing I was struggling a little bit. You do understand that wear and tear on a blade finally does make it dull, and you know how much I cook with this. So when you get it, it will have a blade in here. It's so easy for you to use. You just use your finger, push this out, and it comes, it's a 4-in-1 mandolin, so it comes with different attachments in here. And the one that I'm going to look for is the one that's got some blades in it. Now, when you're putting this in, it's like putting on a shoe. You push in the toe, and then you just snap it, oops, hopefully, snap it down. Onion in the finger guard, and now all we're going to do is, this is going to make life so easy. It's slicing and dicing all at the same time. So we're just going to do about a half an onion, depending on your size. And once you've got that done, we're going to convert it over to our pan on the stove. So put a little bit of olive oil on there, get your stove heated. And we're also going to be adding minced garlic. So this minced garlic is a staple that you should have in your kitchen at all times. So we've got our oil heating up here. I love induction stoves. How quick was that to heat up? And what we want to do is we want to just saute this for a little bit until our onion becomes a little translucent. Turn my temperature down. We don't want to brown our onion, but we do want to make sure that it's not totally crisp. So at this time, grab your 4-in-1 spoon and put that in there. The oil and the moisture from the onion will actually reconstitute to the garlic, and so you're going to be able to impart that flavor into your dish. So let's get some fun food facts about this couscous that we're making. So where did couscous really come from? Well, history has it. The history buffs have looked into it, and it actually came from northern Africa. They actually believe maybe Algeria or Morocco, or maybe somewhere in that area. Back then, and that goes back to the 11th to 13th century, they believe, is when it roughly was created. And then it moved over, but through migration, into France and the European countries. And that was in the early 20th century. Now, couscous has become so popular. Actually, in 2011, couscous was rated the 3rd most popular dish in France. Can you believe? I cannot believe that. Crazy. So I will tell you, couscous is also, I mentioned that this is not a gluten-free class, but you could totally use quinoa instead. But couscous was actually included in the UNESCO Intangible Heritage Culture. And that's because cultures were built around food like couscous. So that's really cool. And last but not least, couscous is actually made from the hardest portion of the durum wheat. Okay, so our onion has now become translucent. I don't know if you see that. And we're going to want to cool this. Everything that we're putting together, because it's a salad, should be cooled down. Time for us to make our salad dressing. So what I've got here is a 1/4 cup of olive oil, that really good stuff. Spend the money. I'm going to take a fresh lemon. And if you have our 2-in-1 citrus press, great. We no longer sell this. I'm quite sad about it, but boy, if it comes back, make sure you grab it. And I'm going to juice 1 whole lemon. Now, how easy was that? So much easier than maybe using a reamer that a lot of people may have, or squeezing it by yourself. And of course, the nice thing about that is, I don't know if you can see the lights, horrible when it's so bright in here, but the seeds will stay inside there. So we've got our lemon. That's going to give it a nice, fresh, bright flavor. We're going to add some of our sweet and spicy mustard. I love this. It's only available in the summer, so grab it while it's here. This is so good, especially on turkey sandwiches. Oh, yum. So grabbing our 4-in-1 spoon, we're going to grab a teaspoon of this. This gives it a kick. And I do like having a little bit of a kick to flavor, simply because if you're using pasta, it can get quite flat. So you're going to notice some of the items that I put in here are going to give it a pop of flavor. The other thing that I'm going to add is I've got our roasted garlic aioli. Again, super, super flavorful. You don't need a lot, so use your 4-in-1 spoon, flip it over, and just put a 1/4 teaspoon. That's all you're gonna need. It's just gonna add some extra flavor in there. And last but not least Every Mediterranean salad, in my opinion, needs lemon and dill. So we've got, oh my gosh, lighting, please help me. This is our lemon dilly dip. And we're going to put a full tablespoon. So give this a good mix, get it down to the bottom. And we're going to drop that in as well. So just simply mix this up. We're going to add a little bit of SPG as well, but I'm going to add that in right at the end. Let's give this a taste. Good citrus. Love it. Woo. Yes, so I'm not going to put too much because that lemon really added a lot of flavor to it. I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of our SPG, salt, pepper, garlic. Perfect. Again, give it a stir and just set it aside. Grabbing our couscous here, right? We've got this in a perfect size bowl. We're going to start adding some ingredients in here. As I said, we're going to mix this up. You'll probably notice that it's clumped a little bit, but not bad. So what are we going to add to this? Well, we're going to add some chickpeas. So you can cook chickpeas from scratch in your multi-purpose steamer, and you may notice that they will have a skin on them. You can choose, it's your choice. The skin actually has lots of fiber in it, which is fabulous, but maybe you don't want the skin in there. If you do want to remove the skin, one of the easiest ways that I've found doing this is put it in a pot with some water, maybe flavor your water a bit, and let it just cook up a little bit and stir it. And you will find that probably your skins will float to the top. Personally, if it's a healthy meal, keep the skins on there. But we're gonna drop that in. So as you can see, the color is like, not so great. So let's start adding some color in here. So cucumbers, English cucumbers, love them. We've got tomatoes. I had a few leftover mini peppers. You know me, use it all up. I love artichokes. I buy artichokes all the time. So this is about, I don't know, a cup, 3/4 of a cup, whatever you have available. And I've just chopped those up. I had mentioned, of course, being in Italy, you've got to have olives, Mediterranean, yum. Capers. Can I just talk about these beautiful, bright little bursts of flavor? I had some bocconcini because the other day I did a charcuterie board, and so these weren't being used, and I thought, you know what, let's throw them in. My full intention for this, though, was feta. I love feta cheese. Feta cheese, by the way, is really low in calories, and it's very, very popular, and it's really good for your gut health. So feta cheese I've chopped up here, originating, of course, in Greece. 70% of the cheese that's eaten in Greece is, of course, feta, usually made from sheep and goat milk. It now is made also with cow milk and combinations of many of the above. Maximum amount of sheep milk that can be put in real authentic feta is 30%. So, and you know, they're very, very strict about that. If you have any leftover sun-dried tomatoes, and remember, I always oven roast these. Whenever I have tomatoes that maybe aren't as fresh for a salad, what I do is I cut them up and put some flavoring in there, like roasted garlic aioli or herb and garlic or our sun-kissed tomato and olive oil, and of course salt and pepper, and I bake it in my oven. And now that we've got this almost together, let's not forget the onion and garlic that we cooked. Add this in, which is now cooled down. We've got a little bit of extra oil in there from sauteing that. We're going to add a little bit more greens. I always have spinach in my house because quite often we do smoothies, and it's a great way to put a little extra greens in there. So we're just gonna put a little chop to that, throw those in. I like stirring it up now a little bit. So now that we've got our salad all mixed up, All we need to do is add our salad dressing that was sitting on the side. So we'll just give this a pour over top. Give it a good stir with our sauté spoon. And then plate it onto a delicious bowl. Look at these beautiful colors. Totally looks Mediterranean, wouldn't you think? We've got the green, we've got the yellow, we've got the red. Sort of speaks Italian to me. So enjoy this fabulous dish. I will plate this and I'll show you a picture of what the final results look like in a minute. Thank you so much for watching today's cooking class. I'll see you back here next Thursday, 3 o'clock, when I'll share another great meal to keep you out of the kitchen, have you making a raw-to-ready meal in minutes, and really looking like a great cook, because Epicure is going to make it that way for you. So thanks again, everyone. Take care and bye for now.